I find that PBCs have gained a lot of adoption. Approximately 41 states have adopted legislation for PBCs, so they're pretty well known. And basically, it's a corporation with a public benefit purpose that's articulated in its articles and its charter documents, like its bylaws. It has also some reporting requirements that normal corporations or C corps don't have. L3Cs, I tend not to be a big fan of them. And the reason is that they're only adopted in about 12 states. Don't quote me on that, but the adoption is pretty rare. And the only, I would say that if you're looking at the most, uh, the leading states for uh, corporate incorporation, it's Delaware, it's Nevada, it's Texas, it's Florida, and Wyoming. Now, out of those five, only Wyoming has adopted an L3C legislation, but interestingly enough, has not adopted a PBC, whereas the other four have adopted a PBC. So sometimes when you're looking at an entity, you have to look at really what is the mission, the purpose of the entity, if you're an impact entrepreneur, and what entity structure will actually serve the function of the organization rather than just the form of it. And so with PBCs, it's really a corporation with a public benefit purpose. The L3Cs are really just a limited liability company with a social and public benefit purpose. The problem I found with L3Cs is that because they're low profit and they have elevated the social, environmental, or governance mission over that of making profits, as opposed to a PBC, which is we're going to equalize and balance these things. Many mainstream investors and even impact investors won't invest in an L3C. Furthermore, because they are not tax exempt, you're not going to find the donors and the foundations that would generally make investments into a nonprofit investing into an L3C. So personally, I'm not a big supporter of L3Cs. And another form where that really supports the mission and has democratic ownership and voting are cooperatives. However, cooperatives, while almost every state and possibly every state has adopted legislation for cooperatives, they're very limited. And most states limit them to agriculture and or utilities. Some have housing cooperatives, but their purpose of cooperatives is very limited. Some states actually require the cooperative to be an unincorporated association. So when forming a cooperative, again, I would say it's not really a mainstream entity structure that you would normally use. But let's say that you have an agricultural concern and you're doing regenerative agriculture and you wanted to create a cooperative for local small farmers to share in having equipment and resources and determining what cash crops are the best for that bioregion, setting up some kind of a collective bargaining and distribution arrangement so they have more power in the supply chain when they sell their crops to the supply chain, potentially even creating value-adding processing in the cooperative. Those would be the typical types of businesses that you would see forming a cooperative. So in today's discussion, I think it's going to serve our time best to look at potentially how can we use corporations, including PBCs, LLCs, LPs, as the primary structure that allows a company to gain investment and to scale. So, for example, if a company can't scale, it can't raise capital, it actually can't grow because it can't raise capital, how much impact will it have? Largely, the impact of a company is based upon the scale of its products and services, the scale of community and social impact, and the number of employees that it retains and hires. So how can we scale impact and utilize more of these mainstream structures, but have governance and stock structures in place that actually provide for the preservation of mission and purpose?